$34,000 for Marcus's house deposit, $11,800 in emergency mortgage payments after that, $16,200 in medical and dental costs for my mother over the years, $27,500 in materials for repairs on my parents' house, almost $50,000 in groceries, utilities, repairs, and cleaning tied to the beach house alone. On top of that, smaller loans that never came back. $226,400 total over 20-some years. Marcus said I was treating family like a business transaction. No, I said. A business would have sent invoices. I never did. He pushed back harder, saying the house had been used by the whole family for years, so locking everyone out was cruel. That's when Rachel spoke for the first time. Using something for years doesn't make it yours. She set a printed text message in front of him, one he'd sent the summer before. Tell Rachel to clear her stuff out of the master closet before we arrive. Why was I supposed to clear my belongings out of a house my parents gave me, she asked him. He didn't have an answer. I told him I wanted the Facebook post taken down, or at least corrected. He said it reflected how he honestly felt in the moment. Then leave it up, I said, but I'm posting the group chat underneath it. Marcus went quiet. He knew exactly what was in that thread. Rachel's message about Sophie's pneumonia, my father's reply that nothing was changing. One of my aunts, sitting a few chairs down, looked at him and said, "You left that part out?" Marcus muttered something about Facebook not being the place for every detail. Apparently, it was the place for every detail that made Daniel look bad, she said. My father tried a different angle. After everything we did for you, this is how you treat us? I didn't deny they'd raised me, fed me, gotten me through school. You raised me. I'm grateful, I said. But that doesn't give you a lifetime claim on my wife's house, our money, or our time. My mother's voice cracked a little. We were only trying to keep everyone together. Rachel answered that one, calm as ever. You tried to bring 13 people into a house while our 2-year-old had pneumonia. That wasn't keeping us together. That was telling us we didn't matter. My mother started crying, and something in me wanted to take it all back right there. Tell her I was sorry. Pour her some tea. Let the whole thing dissolve the way family arguments in our house always used to. But then I thought about Sophie flinching at a ringing phone, whispering no loud people, and I stayed put. I laid out the new terms. Nobody uses the beach house without both Rachel and me inviting them. No more self-scheduled trips onto property that isn't theirs. No more informal loans with no paper trail. I'd still help with real medical emergencies, but I was done covering Marcus's lifestyle. And anyone who used Sophie's illness as leverage again would lose the right to visit at all. My father asked if I was choosing her family over my own. I looked through the kitchen window at Rachel's parents' faces from Fort Wayne. No, at Rachel and Sophie, stacking blocks together in the living room. I'm choosing the family I'm responsible for, I told him. Then I asked one last question. Can you name one time you asked Rachel before inviting people to her beach house? He didn't answer. I looked at my mother. Nothing. Even Marcus came up empty. Nobody yelled. Nobody needed to. The silence said everything I'd spent 3 weeks trying to put into words. That's why the locks changed, I said. Marcus deleted the post right there at the table, not because he changed his mind about any of it, but because he didn't want that group chat screenshot going up under it. Before he left, my father told me I'd torn the family apart. No, Dad, I said. I stopped pretending it wasn't already broken. Marcus didn't speak to me for almost 5 months after that afternoon in our backyard. That part still stings more than I expected it to. He'd taken advantage of me for years, sure, but he was still my brother, and there were nights I lay awake wondering if I could have drawn the same line without drawing so much blood along with it. What I noticed, though, was how much lighter the rest of our life felt once the bleeding stopped. Money that used to disappear into other people's emergencies started staying in our own account. Rachel and I actually took a long weekend that spring, just the two of us and Sophie. No garage roofs waiting to be fixed. No last-minute grocery lists taped to a fridge that wasn't even ours to stock. My knee still ached most evenings, and my lower back still had opinions about ladders. But at least I wasn't spending my weekends fixing things for free anymore. My relationship with my parents didn't heal in any clean way, and I stopped expecting it to. My father never apologized. Not once. My mother sent stiff, careful texts around the holidays, the kind that read more like obligation than warmth. I didn't cut them off completely. I still called to check in, still asked about doctor's appointments, but I stopped being the automatic answer to every problem that showed up in their lives. When my father's car broke down that winter, I gave him the number of a good mechanic instead of driving over with my toolbox. He wasn't thrilled about it. He handled it anyway. About 6 months after that backyard conversation, my phone rang, and it was my mother. I braced myself the way I always used to before answering her calls. She didn't say, "We're coming Saturday." She didn't announce anything. "Would it be all right?" she said, hesitating in a way I genuinely never heard from her before. "If your father and I came by Sunday afternoon?" It wasn't an apology. I want to be honest about that. It wasn't some movie moment where everything got resolved in one phone call. But it was the first time in as long as I could remember that she'd actually asked. I looked over at Rachel, who was folding laundry on the couch, and she gave me a small nod. "Sunday from 2 to 5 works," I told my mother. "Sophie naps before that." "We'll come after her nap," she said. Small, almost nothing really if you didn't know our history. But it was real. The following spring, the three of us drove back out to the beach house for the first time since that Friday the year before. Sophie was 3 now, steady on her feet, and she ran straight down to the sand with a yellow plastic bucket like she owned the place, which in a way that finally meant something, she did. Rachel sat on the porch with a cup of coffee, watching her dig a hole way too big for that little shovel. I walked up to the front door before we went in and checked the lock. Out of habit more than anything else. It didn't feel like a weapon anymore. It was just a lock. The same thing every house has. The plain, ordinary right to decide who gets to walk through your own front door. I've thought a lot about what the real payoff was in all of this. It wasn't the number in that binder, and it wasn't the image of 13 people standing confused in a driveway. It was something quieter than that. It was making sure my daughter never grows up thinking love means letting people ignore what you need. Rachel came up beside me while Sophie kept digging. "Any regrets?" she asked. I watched our girl toss sand everywhere, laughing at nothing in particular. "I regret waiting so long," I told her. "If you've ever had to draw a line with your own family, you know it doesn't come easy, and it rarely comes clean. But sometimes the people who love you the most are the ones standing right in front of you, waiting for you to finally notice them. Take care of the ones who respect your home and your heart."